Welcome to the PrepNet, presented every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Talk2Me's Channel 14. Come join us to discuss everything about prepping and hear what others have done. Shelter Types for Preppers, Part 1. When we talk about shelter in a preparedness context, we're not just talking about a roof over your head. We're talking about protection from weather, security from threats, and sustainability over time. We'll break shelter down into practical categories you can actually use and plan around. Before continuing, answer these questions. What is your primary shelter plan? Bug in or bug out? Do you have a secondary location identified? Have you practiced setting up your temporary shelter gear? What is your biggest shelter weakness right now? Primary residence, shelter in place. Let's start with the most overlooked but most important shelter, your current home. In most scenarios, staying put, also known as bugging in, is the safest and most realistic option. The advantages include a familiar layout and surroundings, existing supplies and infrastructure on hand, and better physical security compared to improvised shelters. You might consider upgrades such as reinforcing doors and windows, adding backup electricity, heating and cooling, planning for alternative cooking methods, and ensuring adequate water storage and sanitation. Key takeaway: your home should be your first and strongest line of shelter, not your last resort. If bugging in isn't feasible, consider these options. Bug-out shelters. Sometimes staying isn't an option. That's where bug-out shelters come in. These are temporary or secondary locations you relocate to during emergencies. There are several types you should think about. One is a designated retreat location. This could be a cabin, rural property, or a trusted friend or family member's home. This option is more secure than improvised shelters and can be pre-stocked with essentials such as water, non-perishable food, medical supplies, clothing, bedding, tools, fuel, communications gear, and sanitation items so it's ready when you arrive. However, it requires travel and may not be accessible in fast-moving emergencies, where events like wildfires, flash floods, or civil unrest can block roads, limit fuel, or leave insufficient time to reach the location. A vehicle-based shelter, your car, truck, or RV, offers mobility and fast deployment, but is limited by fuel, road access, and vulnerability if disabled. Remember, the more space people take up, the less supplies you can carry. If you don't have a structure available, in a worst-case situation, you may need to rely on improvised outdoor shelters. Examples include tarp shelters and debris huts. Tarp shelters are lightweight and versatile, made using a tarp and cordage. They can be configured in multiple ways, such as lean-tos, A-frames, or plow-point setups, depending on terrain and weather. They are quick to deploy and highly portable, but require practice and good site selection to provide effective protection from wind and rain. A plow-point setup is a fast, low-profile shelter. It uses one corner, secured high, and the opposite edge staked low to shed wind and rain efficiently. Debris huts are primitive shelters built from a ridgepole, branches, and thick layers of natural debris like leaves or pine needles. They are designed to trap body heat and block wind, but require time and effort to build properly. These can be built almost anywhere, but they are labor-intensive and offer lower protection. Key takeaway: bug-out shelters require planning ahead. Don't assume you'll figure it out under stress. Temporary shelters. Temporary shelters bridge the gap between mobility and stability. Examples include tents and emergency bivy sacks. Tents can hold one-to-many people depending on their size, where bivy sacks are for one person only. Bivy sacks are compact, lightweight sleeping bag-style shelters designed for rapid deployment in emergencies. They are typically made from reflective or waterproof materials that help retain body heat and protect against wind and rain. They are ideal for short-term survival and take up very little space in a pack, but can be cramped and offer limited comfort for extended use. These are essential for short-term situations like sudden evacuations, being stranded, or overnight exposure. What matters most is weather resistance, ease of setup, and weight and portability. Key takeaway: if it takes you 30 minutes to figure out how to set it up, it's too complicated. Next week, we'll finish talking about shelter. If you have any questions about what we have discussed here or anything about prepping, send your question to prepnetch14@gmail.com and enter question in the subject line.